Tariffs, essentially taxes on imported goods, are not a new concept. They have been used throughout history as a tool to protect domestic industries and generate government revenue. In the early days of the United States, tariffs were a primary source of federal funding. They helped nurture young American industries and reduce dependence on foreign goods. However, the world has changed dramatically since then. Global trade has exploded, connecting economies and consumers in unprecedented ways. Tariffs, once a cornerstone of economic policy, have become less common, replaced by free trade agreements and global supply chains. The rise of globalization brought about a shift in perspective on tariffs. They were increasingly viewed as disruptive to global trade, hindering economic growth and raising prices for consumers. This shift in thinking led to a decline in the use of tariffs as a primary economic tool. Yet, the allure of tariffs, with their promise of protecting domestic industries and punishing perceived economic rivals, has never truly faded. This brings us to the present day, where tariffs have re-emerged as a central element in global trade discussions. On April 2, 2025, President Donald Trump announced a new wave of tariffs, sending shockwaves through the global economy. This tariff tsunami, as some have dubbed it, consists of a two-tiered approach. First, a baseline 10% tariff will be levied on all goods imported into the United States. This blanket tariff is designed to provide a broad advantage to American-made products. The second tier consists of additional reciprocal tariffs targeted at specific countries. These tariffs are calculated based on existing tariffs and non-tariff barriers imposed on American goods by those countries. The rates vary significantly, with China facing the brunt of the increase. Chinese imports will be subject to an additional 34% tariff on top of the baseline 10%, resulting in a hefty total tariff of 54%. These tariffs are set to take effect rapidly. The baseline tariff on all imports will be implemented on April 5th, followed by the higher reciprocal tariffs on April 9th. This rapid timeline has left businesses scrambling to adjust and prepare for the potential fallout. The Trump administration argues that these tariffs are essential to protect American jobs, reduce the trade deficit, and bring manufacturing back to the United States. However, critics warn that these tariffs could ignite a global trade war, disrupt established supply chains, and harm both American businesses and consumers. The driving force behind Trump's tariff policy is the America First agenda. This nationalist approach seeks to reassert American economic dominance on the world stage and prioritize domestic industries and workers. At the heart of this agenda is the belief that the United States has been taken advantage of in trade deals, leading to the outsourcing of jobs and a decline in American manufacturing. Trump's tariffs are intended to reverse this trend. By making foreign goods more expensive, the administration aims to encourage consumers to buy American-made products, boosting domestic manufacturing and creating jobs. The tariffs are also designed to pressure trading partners, particularly China, into offering more favorable trade terms to the United States. Beyond re-industrializing America, Trump also sees tariffs as a way to increase federal revenue. The administration argues that the tariffs will generate billions of dollars that can be used to fund infrastructure projects and reduce the budget deficit. This harkens back to the early days of the United States when tariffs were a primary source of government funding. However, critics argue that these goals are unrealistic and potentially harmful to the American economy. They contend that tariffs are essentially a tax on American consumers, who will face higher prices for everything from clothing to electronics. They also warn that tariffs could disrupt global supply chains, making it more expensive for American businesses to operate and ultimately leading to job losses. Section 4. Global trade caught in the crossfire. The impact of Trump's tariffs will be felt far beyond American shores, reverberating through the interconnected global economy. Countries around the world are bracing for the fallout and assessing the potential damage. Some countries will be hit harder than others, depending on their trade relationship with the United States and the specific goods they export. China, the world's second-largest economy and America's biggest trading partner, finds itself squarely in the crosshairs of Trump's tariff policy. With tariffs on Chinese goods now exceeding 50%, Chinese businesses face a significant disadvantage in the American market. This could have a ripple effect throughout the Chinese economy, slowing growth and potentially leading to job losses. Vietnam, a rapidly growing economy heavily reliant on exports to the United States, is also vulnerable to the new tariffs. Vietnamese textiles, footwear, and electronics will all be subject to the increased tariffs, potentially harming the country's burgeoning manufacturing sector. The United Kingdom, in the midst of navigating its post-Brexit relationship with the world, faces a more uncertain future. While the UK will only be subject to the baseline 10% tariff, the lowest among major economies, the long-term impact on British businesses remains to be seen. The European Union, a bloc of 27 countries, faces a more complex situation. The EU as a whole will face a 30% tariff on its exports to the United States, a significant increase that could harm key industries such as automobiles and agriculture. Section 5. Economic shockwaves, market reactions and retaliation. The announcement of Trump's tariffs has sent shockwaves through global markets. The initial reaction was a surge in US stock futures, as investors anticipated a boost for American companies. However, this optimism was short-lived, quickly replaced by a wave of selling that sent stock prices tumbling. This negative market reaction reflects the deep uncertainty and anxiety surrounding the tariffs. Investors are concerned about the potential for a trade war which could disrupt global supply chains, increase costs for businesses, and ultimately harm economic growth. International reactions to the tariffs have been swift and largely negative. China has condemned the tariffs, calling them protectionist, and vowing to take necessary countermeasures to protect its interests. This could include retaliatory tariffs on American goods, potentially targeting key exports such as soybeans and automobiles. Other countries, including Canada and members of the European Union, have also expressed their displeasure and are preparing their own retaliatory measures. These retaliatory tariffs could target a wide range of American goods, from agricultural products to manufactured goods, further escalating trade tensions. The potential for a tit-for-tat trade war is a major concern for businesses and economists alike. A trade war would likely lead to higher prices for consumers, reduced economic growth, and job losses on all sides. It could also damage international relations and undermine the rules-based trading system that has underpinned global prosperity for decades. Section 6. A gamble on the future of global trade. Trump's tariff policy represents a significant gamble on the future of global trade. The administration is betting that it can use tariffs to rewrite the rules of global trade in America's favor, bringing back manufacturing jobs and reducing the trade deficit. However, this approach carries significant risks, with the potential to backfire and harm the American economy. The historical context of tariffs offers a cautionary tale. While tariffs were an important tool in the early days of the United States, the world has changed dramatically since then. Global trade is far more integrated, and supply chains are complex and interconnected. Tariffs in today's globalized economy are more likely to be disruptive than beneficial. The potential consequences of Trump's tariffs are far-reaching. A trade war could plunge the global economy into recession, costing millions of jobs and undermining international cooperation. Even if a full-blown trade war is averted, the tariffs are likely to lead to higher prices for consumers, reduced business investment, and slower economic growth. The ultimate success or failure of Trump's tariffs will depend on a variety of factors, including the response of other countries, the resilience of the global economy, and the political will of the Trump administration to stay the course. The world is watching closely, uncertain of what the future holds for global trade in this new era of economic nationalism.